It's me and Marla. Marla, it's been a while since you've
been
been on
the show. It's been a while. It's been like a month.
Look, see, you got the city behind you now.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Isn't that?
That looks good. I mean, I love the black, but that's interesting. I've got some office building right to my ear.
That building, it's the opposite.
Yeah. Okay.
This one, this building over here.
Yeah.
That's the Bell Telephone Building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. We get to see the pollution. We get to see somebody.
That's why it's so nice.
Cleaning one of the water tanks up there. Yeah.
Do you ever notice when the weather's nice, the air's polluted because it blows up from the south?
Oh, that makes sense.
Right.
Only you would know that.
Well, I can tell you, because anyways, in my town, my hometown,
yeah,
the wind's always from the west, right? And there was
your town is polluted.
It's not as polluted as it used to be. There used to be a big Union Carbide factory there.
Yeah, and they got rid of that.
And you would just pump out smoke day after day, but it was always blowing east. You know what I mean?
And what would you look like if you grew up somewhere that wasn't polluted?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Probably much better looking.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think so too. Well, I've got some interesting little ditties for you.
Well, let's do it.
Per usual. Okay.
What are we going to completely not talk about the Robertson screwdriver?
Tell me about it, because I was telling Hugh this morning that I got up very early and I started to use different heads of my screwdriver to take down my curtains because I'm having a painter tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I was discussing which was the better screwdriver, and I said I think the flathead's the better one.
The slot.
No. And he says no, but he told me something really interesting.
Try using a slot with an automatic screwdriver.
No,
the slot just slides out.
Well, I don't.
And it also it starts to
No,
degrade,
I get it. Yeah.
Right? And the Phillips is
but the Phillips is the worst.
Better.
I think it's the worst.
It's a little better because it will at least stay in the screw until it falls apart. But the Robertson is the best.
Is the best. And who made it?
It was developed in Milton, Ontario.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
It's another thing for Canadians to be proud of.
But they don't use it in the U.S.
And that's strange.
Because they have to use their Phillips one, even though it's inferior.
Well, they don't use Nestle's chocolate bar out there. Or is it Hershey's? Because it's Canadian.
No, Hershey's is American.
Okay, then it's Nestle's.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, what's also interesting is peanuts are one of the ingredients in dynamite.
I didn't know that.
I know.
Get out.
Get out. Okay. Hi. But I was thinking that wouldn't be really fair if you threw a stick of dynamite at somebody and they were allergic to peanuts. I mean, I think that's really selfish. Yeah. It's something to think about. Okay.
I'm thinking about it right now.
Here's a really interesting little bit of trivia. Rubber bands last longer in the fridge.
I knew that.
Oh, you knew? Do condoms last longer in the fridge?
As long as you don't use them.
Okay. All right. And then something shrinks if you are using them and you are in the fridge.
Shrinkage.
Yeah, that's it. Shrinkage. George Seinfeld. Okay. Do you know that on a regular golf ball there are 366 dimples?
I did know that.
On that ball.
Yeah.
You knew that.
I knew that.
You would know that.
I
Okay.
counted them once.
Okay, well, did you know that there are 433 dimples on my right thigh?
I thought I counted those too.
That deserved that pregnant pause that it did. Okay, if you know so much, how many ridges are there and on dime?
Ridges?
Yeah.
On a Canadian dime?
Yeah.
I don't know. 144.
You're close. Of course, he would be close.
What? I don't know.
118.
Oh.
Okay, how about this? There are 2 words in the English language that end with G-R-Y. Only 2.
Hungry.
Yes.
Angry.
You got it.
That's
you got
it?
it? Yeah, that's it. You got it. He's amazing, folks. He's amazing. Oh, my God. I don't know. Okay, sloths. You know those sloths?
My favorite is the 3-toed sloth.
Yeah, I love them. Sloths are
Background's
actually
changing.
Oh, no.
Oh, we're having
I love
technical
that.
difficulties.
Oh, that's okay. You know what? I love the blue.
Do you? The blue is by default.
Oh. I like the blue. You know, I find the background, I like black too. I find the background of Toronto kind of gray and blah.
I like it. It's action oriented.
I know you like it. Why don't we have Queen's Park? Why don't we have some, politicians coming in and out saying, I'm on my break. I don't want to work.
Yeah, we can do that.
I want to get paid $100,000, not do too much.
Excellent idea.
Let me be one of the senators, and I really don't do anything. All right. I'm going to continue on. A sloth moves slowly, but they actually are fast. They only choose to.
Really?
That's what my facts say. And in that vein, I'm actually quite beautiful. I just choose to look ugly. Yeah. Anyways, no comment. Okay. Here's something very, very interesting.
Okay.
Humans and horses.
Yeah.
Those are the only two animals that have hymens.
That's unusual.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know why, darling. I just find these things out. But when women ride horses, sometimes they lose their hymens. And I wonder if horses, when they ride women, do they lose their hymens?
It calls for some more research.
It does. Do you know how I lost my hymen?
No.
I'll tell you. I know you want to know. Because I was riding a bike one day and it didn't have a seat on it, and that's how I lost my hymen. Yeah. Anyways.
I could make comments.
Well, I was hoping you would. Okay. A human, on average, lies how many times to another human?
Lies?
Lies. Does not tell the truth.
To all other humans in their lifetime?
On an average day.
On an average day.
There you go.
To everyone? Like, how many lies does a person tell every day?
On average. How many lies?
Or how many lies to each person that he knows?
No. In one day. In one entire day.
Well.
Don't make this more complicated.
3.
On average. That's
3.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's 2.
2.
But,
okay.
I'm sure it is 3. But interesting.
Yeah. They were probably lying in the survey. Right?
That's
probably
fantastic.
Much higher.
Very good. That's very good. Okay. Okay. Do you know that humans, dolphins, and apes, particularly bonobos, are the only species that have sex for pleasure?
Well, I knew the bonobo was in that category.
God knows.
What was the other ones again?
Bonobos, right?
What were the other
ones?
ones?
We love them. Humans and dolphins.
Oh, dolphins.
In fact, I think I read that dolphins have different orifices, and like one is just to have sex and one is to procreate.
Whoa.
Isn't that interesting? So I was thinking they would be good animals to have a menage a trois with.
Do they have menage a trois?
I'll create one. Hello, dolphin. Hello, monkey. Come on over. I've got like great dinner and some candlelight, little wine. I mean, that would be fantastic. These are animals that love to have sex for pleasure.
I hope your apartment's watertight.
No, I'm not talking about water sports, but I can't wait to meet the bonobo of my life. I think that would be really good. Okay, do you know what the shortest? No. What word in the English language can you use and it is a complete sentence and it's 2 letters? And it can be used as the shortest sentence.
I don't know.
Go.
Oh.
Go.
Okay, go.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, go. Okay. And the national anthem of Greece has 158 verses. That would make me change my nationality.
Well,
I couldn't stand there for that long. 158 verses? Oh, my God.
Let me tell you something. I was at a funeral.
I thought you were going to tell me, let me tell you something, I'm Greek.
No, but I was at a Croatian funeral, and they read the Lord's Prayer, or said the Lord's Prayer in Croatian, like 100 times or something like that.
Oh. They repeated it? Why?
I don't know. It was part of the ceremony.
Oh, my. How long did it take?
A long time.
Oh, my goodness. Remind me not to go to one of those funerals, okay? A shark is the only fish that can blink both its eyes. Isn't that amazing? And a shark, if it wants to have sex with you, will blink one eye.
Well, that's probably a better sign than him, licking his lips.
Very good. I agree with you. Totally. Okay. Do you know that there are more chickens in the world than human beings?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I was surprised.
I like chickens.
I like eating chickens.
I'm a big fan of chickens.
I'm a bigger fan of eggs.
Eggs are good. I had an egg this morning.
I didn't, but I wanted one.
Well, there you go. I
So-
want to keep chickens.
Do you think I don't? But soon they're going to be illegal to have chickens in the backyard. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, I heard on the radio. But this is going to be bad. Don't get excited.
I'm going to have chickens.
Great.
When is that going to be illegal?
They're debating it.
No, I thought
They're
they
discussing
already
and
debated
debating it.
it.
It's not going to be good.
I want them to
It's not
pass
going to be
it.
good. It's not
I
going to be
want
good.
chickens.
But I was thinking in the year 2020, the world might be taken over by chickens. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Maybe they can do better?
They don't have atomic weapons.
And they don't have a brain.
They're not the smartest animal
Apparently,
on the planet.
it really is a bird brain thing in the chicken thing, in the chicken world. All right. 2/3 of the world's eggplants are grown in
Where?
New Jersey.
I didn't know that.
So New Jersey is not just known for the Sopranos.
No, it is the Garden State.
You're right. They must have called it a Garden State
You know
for
what?
a reason.
You know what they should do?
They should call it the Eggplant State.
I'll tell you, eggplant is. I think because it's called eggplant, people don't like it as much. In French, it's the aubergine.
Yes.
It's a much better name
Much.
for the eggplant. If eggplant was called aubergine,
Right.
we would all be eating eggplant every day.
Especially if it's deep fried. I
Yeah.
think you're right. It was like, if we said, I've got a beautiful serving of snails for you, we
Yeah.
wouldn't want to eat it. But if we say, escargot avec beurre,
Absolutely.
garlic,
I know.
we go, oh, this is fantastique.
Exactly.
C'est
And
merveilleux.
pâté de foie gras.
Oh, le monde de
It's
Disney, c'est
just
merveilleux.
fattened up goose liver.
Oh, that's
That
it.
doesn't sound good, does it?
It's like fattened up chopped liver. Let's see it.
Okay,
Oh, one more?
sure.
One more. Tigers have striped skin, not just striped fur.
Oh, that's weird.
And on that note, I will leave you with, and I have striped pubic hair, but my actual skin is not striped.
We're going to get a camera to verify that
Yeah.
later in the show,
Yeah.
people. So just stay tuned.
And I want to leave you with that image.
And we will. We'll
We will.
leave that image burned into everyone's retina.
Oh, God, they'll see it in their nightmares.
Okay. All right. Well, we got a really good show planned for today.
Yeah, sounds like it.
We've got Brian Baumal will be here. He's just talking about Gestalt.
Brian Bonobo? Oh, Brian Bomo. Sorry. Okay,
I understand you have bonobos on the
I
brain.
got it on the brain.
Because they are the most sexually active mammal.
And they're very
Right?
versatile in their positions.
Okay. That's why they're illegal to own. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why they're a commodity.
Anyway, Brian's coming in talking about women and psychotherapy.
Wonderful. I can't wait for that.
That's right.
I
Also,
love both.
Michel Emond will also be here today. We're going to be talking about the World Bank and money and how to get rid of debt worldwide, which is exactly what we need. So also, we're going to start the show with Lenka Lichtenberg. She's here. The whole band is here. Maybe not the whole band. I don't know. We're going to find out. But they brought all their instruments, and it's part of the Canadian Folk Music Awards.
Does she sing Yiddish kind of stuff?
As a matter of fact, I
I'm
think she
looking
might.
at a pamphlet now.
Yeah, look.
That looks fantastic.
Yiddish ethno-jazz with Lenka Lichtenberg.
Wow.
We're gonna try to
There's
zoom
not
in
many
on this.
people who do that kind of combo of jazz and Yiddish.
There you go.
That'll be interesting.
So, let's play some Lenka right now, and we're going to come back with Lenka.
Great.
And Alan, Chris, and John, the rest of the band.
Great.
As Liquid Lunch gets underway on a Thursday, we'll be right back.
I'll be right back. Phew.
wie es gewinnt, der klingt der Kolle. Sag starke noch wie es gewinnt, der klingt der Kolle. Ich muss dich sehen, dich sehen. In der Bläugkeit von Treue, bei der Schwert von Teuer, von Freiheit mit Umet in Blick, in der Reuigkeit von nächtige Tag, von nächtige Nacht, wo's kommen, kein Monat zurück, kein Monat zurück. In der Reuigkeit von Funken, von Wahrheit, von Chaberisch Gemüt, ein Umblick und ein Glück. Sag starke noch wie es gewinnt, der klingt der Kolle. Sag starke noch wie es gewinnt, der klingt der Kolle. Ich muss dich sehen. In der Bläugkeit von Treue, bei der Schwert von Teuer, von Freiheit mit Kummet in Blick, in der Reuigkeit von nächtige Tag und nächtige Nacht, wo's kommen, kein Monat zurück.
Except they changed the name of their band during the warm-up. Right, Lenka? What was the name that you wanted to change it to now?
Well, originally we are Lenka Lichtenberg and Fry, but now, considering the open window we had until a minute ago, we were actually the Jaghammers. But I have a feeling that already may exist as a punk band in England.
Sounds like
Jaghammers, doesn't it? So we may be out of luck on that.
I was going to make a joke there.
Yes.
They're an odds cover band.
Oh, yes, okay. Okay, so maybe that's taken then.
Yeah, it might be taken.
Yes.
I would think it would be. But so tell us about you guys. You guys are nominated, or you are, for the 2011 Canadian Folk Music Awards, right? For World Music Solo Artist. Is that right, Lenka?
That's what it is, yes. And I wouldn't be nominated if it wasn't actually for the entire band. But we were nominated in the category of a solo artist. So, yes, it looks like it's just me, but it really is everybody.
Also, I see here that you're the winner of 2011 for the Songs from the Heart World Music category.
Yes, that
What is
is
that?
the OCFF, or Ontario Council Folk Festivals competition
Yeah.
that comes out every year. And this time we succeeded with a winning song, which is actually one that we're going to play for you. It's called Peace is the Only Way.
Is that the one you're going to do right now?
Yes, it is.
Well, that would be fabulous because we're really looking
What a
forward to hearing
segue.
this. Yeah, perfect. We didn't even plan that, did we?
No.
Zungali gali gali zungali go zungali gali gali zungali gali zungali gali gali zungali gali zungali gali gali zungali gali. Peace is the only way, and the only way is peace. Schon lang auf der ganzen
Thank you.
That was really nice, guys. So that was the winner of the Songs from the Heart. And what was that song called again, Lenka?
It's called Peace is the Only Way.
Peace is the Only Way. Now, what inspired you to write that song?
Well, I have been collaborating with some really notable artists. One of those is Yair Dalal, an Iraqi-Israeli virtuoso on oud and violin. And it so happens that Peace is the Only Way is part of his email signature. And it was corresponding about various engagements and so on. I really liked the signature. And then when I was trying to come up with an idea for a song that would really embody my feelings philosophically, I thought, well, this is such a good line. So I used that line from his email. And there it is. And now we do it in several languages. And also when we perform it live, sometimes we perform it with Rula Said. And so it becomes also Arabic and Portuguese and all these different languages.
And were you singing in different languages there as well?
Yes. There was, well, English you would recognize, but there was also Yiddish, Portuguese, and Hebrew.
Wow.
What's your nationality?
I was born in Prague. I'm Czech.
And how many languages do you speak?
I speak maybe just 3 or 4, but
Just
I kind
3
of
or
dabble
4.
into a lot more than that.
Right.
But that's normal, you know. Once you were born in Europe, you
Right.
just,
Yeah.
you know a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Right. That's very common.
Well, it's great to have you here. That sounded awesome, and we'd love to hear another couple of songs. Could you do another one for us now, and then we'll continue.
Absolutely. We're going to do for you an arrangement of a very traditional song, quite known in the Yiddish repertoire, and that's called Schnirele Pirele. Schnirele Pirele, Schnirele Pirele, Schnirele Pirele, güldene Fawn, Moshiach, 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 Moshiach ben David sitzt da eben on. Halt ab her in der rechter Hand, macht a broche, a broche, a broche, a broche, a broche, a broche, macht a broche auf dem ganzen Land. Amen, amen, and all sees hope. Moshiach wird kommen. Ein Weg, sein Weg, sein Weg, Sior. Ja, da, 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 da. Ja, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Zuvoren willen zijn gute Jahren, wird kommen zu reiten, willen sein gute Zeiten, wird kommen zu
okay. We don't. We just
Thanks.
want to just sit here and listen to you guys the whole day because it really sounds
Thank
awesome.
you.
Now, okay, so the Canadian Folk Music Awards are coming up this Sunday, right, Lenka?
Yes, the gala show with the awards is on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock at the Isabel Bader Theatre here on Charles Street in Toronto.
Right near University.
Right
I
where
think.
we are right now.
It's a great theater.
It is a great
I've
theater.
always wanted to do a concert myself there. So
Yeah.
you're doing a concert. That is a beautiful.
Or actually,
room.
no, we're not doing a concert, but the nominees, there are some,
Oh, or the
many
show.
other
But
nominees
there'll
are
be
doing a show.
No show on the stage at all.
There is a show. It's just that we are not in it.
Yeah.
But there's other people in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fantastic people. Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing that you won't be in the show, but I understand it's going to be a great show because it's a
Absolutely.
celebration of the best in Canadian folk music, right?
You got out of that one good, didn't you?
I don't know what we were getting out of. Like,
Yeah.
seemed perfectly fine.
Yes.
But now there's some other events that are going on with the
Yes,
festival,
there's a
right?
few other events I was hoping to mention. One of those is tomorrow, Friday night, at the Bell
Lightbox.
Lightbox. Thank you. Yes, and there's a documentary about one great Mike Stevens, harmonica player, a film. Premiere of that as a part of that whole weekend of awards and workshops and so on. And then there is another showcase, or actually concert of the nominees at the Hughes Room on Saturday night at 8
Oh,
o'clock,
that's
which
gonna
should be
be-
very nice. And on Sunday, there's a whole slew of workshops with various people in the afternoon before the awards show in the evening.
I have a question, Lenka. Do you speak Yiddish?
I speak better and better, shall we say. I wasn't brought up in Yiddish, so it's something I learned as an adult, really. And I learned it through music, and I've taken a lot of lessons, so I'm getting pretty much better.
Right.
It's probably better.
Because it's such a special language, and it's dying because
Well,
the
dying,
generation that
actually,
speaks-
it was considered dead for a while. They're about 30 years ago. And then a certain renaissance has happened. And much of that can be contributed, in fact, to music because klezmer became so popular. And through that revival, it brought back also interest for the culture and the language. So now you find Yiddish courses, and you can major in that. In many universities, I think there's dozens of universities around the world that have Yiddish, including in Toronto at U of T and at York both. There are Yiddish programs.
Yes, definitely.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
So would you do one more song for us, and then we'll...
And
If you
before you
like.
do that, Gay Schluffen.
We can do now for you an original song that is something that I kind of specialize in, if one can say that, which is setting Yiddish poems, new Yiddish poems, to music. So it's basically creating a new Yiddish repertoire. And some of the musical structures I use for that are based on tradition, and some are very new. And this is going to be the song. But I thought maybe at that time, before we start playing, I should introduce my band members here. What
That's
do
a
you think
great
about
idea.
that? Okay,
Yeah.
so this is John Gzowski on guitar and oud.
Is he related to Peter Zowski? Yes. Really?
Very related. I think it's his son.
Wow.
Yeah, Peter is your son for sure. Yes, Chris Gardner on bass, and Alan Hetherington on percussion, drums, and pandera, who also leads the band with me as a musical co-director. And then usually there is two other people at least playing with us, and that would be Ravi Naimpali on tabla or darbuka, and Ernie Toller on wind instruments. So that's generally the band.
Wow.
Now we're going to play you Lieder von Leub, which means songs of life and praise. And the Yiddish poem for that was written by a Yiddish poet who lives in Toronto. He's 90 years old, and his name is Simcha Simchovich, and I love him dearly. And I've set a lot of his poems to music, and this is one of them.
Fabulous.
Lieder von Leben und Leib, Gesangen von Größen beschaff, Lieder von Deures, was seinen in Thank you. You were supposed to sing with us on that. I forgot to tell you that.
Yeah, Marla.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Both of you.
Oh, nobody told me.
Yeah, I know. That's a big mistake.
See, do you get a lot of that audience participation
Actually,
when you guys
yes.
perform?
On this, once we slow it down and
Yeah.
everybody has a chance to kind of get into it, yes.
My toe was tapping.
Good. At least we had the toe.
I had something else that was tapping.
Yeah, you're very versatile.
Thank you. So, well, listen. Good luck at the awards this week, Lenka, and the rest of you guys. Now, you got this fabulous record too that we're playing and are going to play some more of as we go out. But what's the story with? Is this a new record, Lenka? Or?
No, this is last year's, and in fact, we are going to be recording. We actually already started on a follow-up to this. This one is called Vrij or Vrij, free in Yiddish, and the second one will be called Vrij 2.
Fabulous.
Yes.
And then, what would the third one be called?
I
Is it
wonder.
too
Or
early
maybe
for
we'll
that?
just keep going with these, and it'll be Vrij 3. You know. Yes.
Well, where can people get their hands on the CD if they want?
Most of it is online. Yeah, it's at CD Baby, In the Pool, and iTunes. You can download this for $9, I think.
And do you guys have a website for people
Yes,
who
we
want to
do.
get and stay in
For
touch?
sure. Yeah, yeah.
What is it?
It's www.lenkalichtenberg.com.
All right. Okay. And any performances coming up that people can look forward to?
We will actually be taking our show to New York in January. We're at the APAP, showcases at the Hilton in New York, and that wouldn't be for local. Then we're in Vancouver at the Chutzpah Festival in February. But in March 5th, 2012, we will be at the Al Green Theater doing a beautiful show also with Rula Said called Bridges, where we combine this type of Jewish music with Arabic. So it's bridging the two communities and musics together, and it's really a fabulous music and concept and so on. So I hope everybody's going to come. That's March 5th.
In Toronto, is that?
In Toronto,
That's
Al Green
fabulous.
Theater.
That
Yes.
bridge between and creating real peace there. That's super
exactly the point. And besides, the music is great.
awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
That's fabulous. So, okay, so let's give out the contact info too for if people want to. I don't know if they still have tickets for the show, the gala, and the other events for the CFMA
I think
Awards.
so. Yes, there probably is.
Do you have the website for that?
Oh, that
I'm
would
putting
be
you on the
the
spot.
Canadian Folk Music Awards. If you go just to that, just key that in and it'll come up.
Absolutely.
And then you will see a big thing about the awards. So
Okay.
you can link
yeah,
to that.
you can just Google that. Canadian Folk
Yes.
Music Awards.
For sure.
Okay, Lenka, Alan, Chris, and John, thanks so much for coming in. It sounded totally awesome.
Thanks for
And,
having us, Hugh. Thank you.
Best of luck, and we'd love to have you back sometime. So
Thanks.
let's take a break and play another track from the CD, and we'll be back with Gestalt psychotherapist Brian Baumal as Liquid Lunch continues on a Thursday. We'll be right back.
Ewig ist der Menschen sein Gang, ewig ist der Qual von Gesang, ewig kreuz das garne Glück, ewig ist die Lebensmusik, ewig fahrtsandig das Feuer im Brust, aus 10 Tonnen die Herzen mit Liebe, Leiden, Lust, ewig der Treuer, die dem dunkle Fleide, wo sich mehr liegen in die Herzen sie spricht. Sind prachtig und machtig ewig, 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 ewig der Mensch in sein Gang, ewig der Qual von Gesang, ewig kreuz das garne Glück, ewig ist die Lebensmusik, ewig verzerrt das Feuer in Brust, was sind pagasoshka, tu male mi sajdom. Aj delci, sim vonestem voja, aj milí diadevo, te garte do boja. Let me sleep, I can't face the dawn. The days bring pain so deep, it's hard to carry on. My love, I'm so scared to tell you what I know for sure. We'll never meet again. Gone the fires in the night. Beauty lives in the memories. No one cares to hear our plight, our nightmares, our fears.
And we're back here on Liquid Lunch, and we've got Brian Baumal, Gestalt psychotherapist, right, Brian?
That's right.
I love Gestalt.
I love the whole Gestalt of Gestalt.
I love saying Gestalt.
Yeah, Gestalt.
I know.
Let's just tune in and say it together
Yeah.
for the whole Gestalt of Gestalt here.
Exactly.
That's pretty good.
Well, it's just using the same word twice in the sentence.
Okay.
So, Brian, we're talking about
Let me ask Marla.
Sex.
Let me
Do.
ask Marla a question.
Yeah,
I don't know whether you.
I do. I do.
you don't know whether she needs psychotherapy or not, Brian. The answer's obvious.
No, I love therapy, and I do it a lot.
I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, though.
Yeah.
But
I think
if-
everybody should. but-
So if you've done it before,
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of a contrived question, but worthwhile to ask. If you had a choice of therapist, would you choose a male therapist or a female therapist?
If I had a choice, I would choose a female.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had several, and I've only had one male.
Right.
And that was when I was a teenager, and my parents wanted me to see somebody.
Right.
And, you know, we, as it happens, didn't connect. And I'm sure there'll be male therapists that I would connect with,
Mm-hmm.
as I've had GPs who are male and female, and
Right.
some are better than
Sure.
others, not depending on their sex. But I would be inclined to pick a female.
Sure. And if I could ask you, if you choose to answer, what would some of those reasons be for wanting to see a female therapist?
I just feel that the commonality of the sexes helps with more understanding of where somebody is coming from.
Right.
And there's a more general, it's all generally speaking.
Right.
There are some cold, detached women, but generally women are more communicative. They're more emotional creatures. So if I express myself in a communicative, emotional manner, she's going to understand that better
Right.
than maybe he might say, well, why are you articulating your feelings so much? Whereas a female therapist would never say that phrase.
So you've hit on two very important things, which is worthwhile to discuss. The first is you should always choose a therapist based on who you're comfortable with. No doubt in anyone's mind. It's the relationship that heals, and if you're comfortable with a male therapist, even if that doesn't enter into your thinking, choose someone who you're comfortable with. Rule number one is what you're saying. But you also talk about issues of understanding, that a female is more likely to understand emotions, whereas a male therapist may say, well, why are you doing all those emotions? And that could be true. It may not. It may not be. There's, just as there are some colder females, there are some more emotive males. But what is interesting is the preconceptions that I've just heard you say that you may have about male therapists and perhaps men in general from that statement. So, a benefit of seeing a male therapist may be to challenge some of those notions that you have, or even if it is true that men are less emotive or less responsive to emotions, even if that's true, to actually sit in front of a male therapist and work through those issues with the male therapist may actually be very worthwhile for you.
Right. But as I said it was a general statement.
Of course, yeah.
Certainly I've met men who are much more emotional and in touch with their feelings than certain women.
Right.
But generally speaking, Venus, Mars, there's a reason why somebody wrote that book.
And the question itself, the question, who would you choose, is also very, very general and somewhat contrived, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But what I'm really talking about is the concept of transference in psychotherapy. And we don't need to really, sorry.
Transference?
Transference, yes.
Okay.
I won't go into too much detail, but a simple definition of it is where the patient or the client brings the ghosts of the past into the present therapy session, as a generalization. So you could transfer onto a therapist something you felt about your grade 2 teacher, for example. It doesn't have to be male, female. You could transfer onto the therapist your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your spouse, whomever. And you just unconsciously begin to make this person into those figures in your lives. And it really does happen. It really does happen in life. And so a female who may want to work through their issues with men, for example, like, let's be very specific, you may not come in wanting to work through issues with men, but a female who does want to work through issues with men may want to consider seeing a male therapist because of the transference involved.
And that means that they're essentially taking their baggage, whatever that is, and they're transferring it to the therapist.
Luggage,
because what?
Luggage.
To the therapist because
Right.
he's.
That's right.
Could that go horribly wrong somehow, Brian?
It could go horribly wrong if the therapist doesn't know how to handle it.
Okay.
If the therapist isn't aware that the transference is happening, or if the therapist isn't trained in how to deal with that, then absolutely it could go horribly wrong. The good thing is that most therapists are trained primarily to deal with that. Transference is one of the earliest concepts of psychotherapy or psychoanalysis. Freud really practiced transference in what he did. So it's a very, very basic concept in therapy, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a therapist that would have difficulty with it. But yeah, it could go wrong if the therapist isn't aware of it.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the concept, and I'm just wondering can you give us an example of transference, either from the patient's perspective or your perspective? Like, what do you notice that, and you go, we got some transference going on here?
Well, it's I guess I can try and think of a patient or a client example. Not necessarily gender related, but I'd like to come back to it. But there are some patients that I see that when I make a statement or give advice to, they react very negatively to it. And the reason why therapists don't give advice, the reason why we often give advice is to see how someone's going to react to it. I'll even give you a better example with me. I actually went to see the person who was my supervisor in training about a month or so ago. And she gave me some advice on how to deal with a client. And then my therapist turned to me and said, "And Brian, it's not so much the advice I gave you, but I bet you're having trouble even comprehending the fact that I'm giving you advice right now. You can't even take it from me." And she was bang on with that. And chances are that goes back to the fact that I really had a lot of problems taking advice from people or wanting to do it myself. And I'm transferring on to her all of those people who gave me advice and told me what to do. And I mean, it could be my mother, it could be a teacher, it doesn't matter who. But the fact is she's actually giving me good advice, especially one that could help a client, and I have trouble taking it. Mm-hmm. I have trouble taking it in, and she spotted that. She told me about it, and it's something to work on when I get advice. So that's a really good example of transference. And a lot of when females see a male therapist, you look for that golden nugget where a female would say to a therapist, "You know what? You just don't understand what's happening." That's a perfect opportunity for a well-trained therapist to say, "Tell me exactly what it is I'm not getting. Tell me what it is I don't understand about you." Because if the therapist is well-trained and compassionate and everything, the therapist really should understand it. Mm-hmm. But if someone thinks they don't, by having the client articulate what it is they think the therapist doesn't understand about them, we begin to get at the deeper issues involved. So, Marla, you could say to a male therapist, "You know what, you really just don't get emotions. You really just don't get it." And and the therapist may say to you, "Tell me exactly what it is about me." And that begins to open up a lot of work for you to do.
Right.
So it's kind of an advanced concept that I'm talking about, because I think a female, as I say, or someone needs to choose a therapist based directly on the relationship with the therapist that they have. So if a female wants to see a female therapist because that's a more comfortable situation, do it. I would never recommend against it. But if there are some individuals out there that want to sort of take the advanced course or want to push their comfort zone, you may want to go and see a therapist that rubs you the wrong way.
But it seems almost like, which do you choose? Do you go with somebody that's you're very comfortable with, mm-hmm. where you're not really pushing or expanding your envelope, versus somebody that that is rubbing you the wrong way?
As Marla pointed out, you've seen many therapists. I'm not sure how or why you've chosen one or left another, and it's not really relevant, but you can choose at any point in your therapy to terminate with one and see another. And for that matter, a really in-tune therapist may say, "You know what, I think we're done the work now. I think we're done our work now. Let me recommend you to someone who can push you even further." And that recommendation very well may be based on the client seeing a therapist that may sort of rub them, sort of get under their skin a little bit. Mm-hmm. So the choice, it's not like when you go and see one therapist, your choice is done. You have the option of seeing a number of therapists.
And every therapist is going to really be very different.
Yes.
They're going to have their own unique approach and unique personality. It's almost like
like dating.
Yes.
That's why I give my first session free.
Most of them do.
Most of us do, because sometimes it just doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't. I actually had I had someone in recently. We spent an hour together for free, and I said to her, I really don't think we made a connection here, but I think there's a possibility. Would you be willing to give it one more try? So yeah, it is like dating, and all therapists and clients are very different. Some work out great, others don't.
I once went to see a male psychotherapist,
Mm-hmm.
and I went into his.
Is that because you have issues with men, Hugh?
No, it was because it was free.
Because it was a guest.
Yeah. So you went.
I went
yes.
into the office, and he was sitting there. It kind of reminded me of Joe Davola on Seinfeld.
Crazy, yes.
And he was sitting there polishing this semi-automatic rifle. You know, that was... Why do you think you want to see a psychotherapist?
God.
That was the last time I saw him.
Yeah, that's one you may where he rubs you the wrong way. Your instincts really.
He was
may
rubbing
wanna
me the
kick.
wrong way, but he seemed to be rubbing the gun the right way.
The right way, yeah. Stroking it just enough.
Okay, so is this the real issue here today, or about choosing the? Is it about choosing the sex of the psychotherapist, or choosing a psychotherapist in general?
Well, we could talk about choosing a psychotherapist in general. You have a choice of seeing a therapist that you are comfortable with, and you know, again, I will say the therapeutic relationship heals. There's no doubt about it. And if you want to go and see a therapist because you are comfortable with them, because you feel you can talk in front of them, do it. But there is an argument in general to be made that if a therapist sort of rubs you the wrong way or pushes your button in a way, you may want to continue seeing them. And this is assuming that you feel the therapist is competent and has, like if you walk out of there going, not only did he rub me the wrong way, but you know, he really, I get a sense this guy isn't competent and isn't whatever. Yeah, fine. Let those considerations come in. But there's a lot of room for growth in seeing someone that just pushes your buttons a little bit. And we started talking how a female could see a male therapist, or even vice versa, a male seeing a female therapist as well. It could work both ways, but we started with that sort of which gender therapist should you see, to talking more broadly about choosing a therapist and how you want the direction of your growth to go. Is
there a point where maybe they're pushing your buttons and you're not feeling comfortable with that, of course, but you're making that choice? You know, I am growing, I'm expanding my envelope. You know, it's hard, but it's good for me. Yep. But where you know, at what point does it cross the line and you say, you know what, and how do you even know you're making the right choice?
So that's a really good question. It's a really smart. I should have prepared the answer for that. Fortunately, I have one. It's kind of like let's compare it to a medical test or a medical procedure that you have that involves a certain amount of pain. The doctor says there's going to be pain involved in this, and if the pain becomes too much or you feel the doctor is not doing his job properly, you let the doctor know, and hopefully the doctor will stop or change the test. So it's the same kind of thing. You should have a good sense, many clients will have a good sense that it's leading somewhere. And quite frankly, if it isn't, you've got a choice. You can leave or you can bring it up with the therapist. And the therapist, again, if they're trained properly, will know how to handle that kind of confrontation with a client. And the therapist may say, you know what, now that you bring it up, maybe you should see someone else, or maybe you should continue. If there's one person in your life that you should be completely open and honest with, it is your therapist, and perhaps a doctor that's doing a medical procedure on you. But whatever you are experiencing about therapy or the therapist, let the therapist know. And if the therapist is a good one and has ethics, they will not try and convince you to stay with them, but just help you work through the issue and make a good choice.
And I have to tell you, and having several friends who see therapists, and we discuss each other's sessions and stuff. They'll say, "Oh yeah, I was so mad at my therapist this morning." I said, "Did you tell her?" "No, I wouldn't tell her. I don't want her to think I'm like this or that or that." I hear this all the time.
Right.
For decades of people, "Oh, I would never tell my therapist that because they might think this and that." I said, "But you need to let her or him know that you're angry at them, or that bothers you, that they were late, or that they didn't listen to you. You have to communicate." Or like I remember one person saying, "I wanted to strangle her." So did you tell her that? Because you strangled this other person last year,
right?
But you haven't told her that, So that happens all the time.
And who else in your life aren't you telling these things to, or who else in your life are you trying to chronically please? These are exactly the issues in therapy that people are often trying to work through. One of the basic
or suppress. I have
or
to say.
suppress. Yes, but I mean, more often or not, you want to try and work through these conflicts and be able to approach people and work through these issues, and that's one of the basic sort of benefits of therapy, or raisons d'etre of therapy, is to tell people how to engage in conflict or in disagreeable conversation in a way that is going to work out for both people. I'm not talking win-win and all that other BS. Make sure everyone comes away a winner or stuff like that. It's about just being able to say what you're thinking and feeling in a way that is psychologically healthy for you and the other person. So if you are mad at your therapist, if you want to strangle your therapist, let them know. Hopefully the therapist can handle it.
Hopefully.
Yes.
But even something like if a client came in to me and said, "Brian, in my last session, I wanted to strangle the hell out of you." One response from me may very well be, "I didn't even notice. I didn't even know." And that tells a person a lot. Because if the therapist maybe sensed a little agitation or sensed discomfort or sensed sensed someone getting uncomfortable, then the therapist may have been able to react or change their approach accordingly. So even a simple thing like I didn't even know you were in discomfort could begin to tell a patient or a client a lot about how they approach confrontation or their demeanor in it.
Right.
Okay, so Brian, that's some good insight for people who are in the process, perhaps, of choosing a psychotherapist, or maybe re-choosing.
One.
Brian,
yes.
If you had to see a proctologist, would you prefer a male or a female?
She has to do this, Brian. She's a comedian.
That is,
I think it's a really good question.
I'll just tell you a funny story. A number of years ago, I went to have a gastroscopy, which is the scope down the throat. And when they wheeled me into the operating room there, they said, you're here for your colonoscopy.
Right.
And I said, a lot of people get the ends on me confused, but I really want you to know that this is up and this is down, and you're going through the up end. So having said that, I know I didn't answer your question, but...
that's called avoidance.
That's called avoidance.
Deflecting.
I would... the question actually, honestly, it makes me uncomfortable, to be honest.
Yes.
To be honest with you, it's a difficult question to answer, and I think you've highlighted how important the relationship is with the provider. You're right; it was a little sidestep on my part, but being serious, when you look at it, it's a tough question to answer.
I would have a very easy time answering, but that's me.
That's you. Okay, all right, Brian. Not a lot of time left, but did you want to talk briefly about the holiday season and what people should do?
That's really
yes.
important.
So a different topic entirely. It is December 1st, a good time to talk about how to survive the holidays for people. And we were talking sort of before the cameras were rolling a little bit about how you deal with your family and your family of origin. And let me start by saying one way of surviving that going and seeing your family is think to yourself, how can you make lemonade out of lemons?
Mm-hmm.
So how can you turn whatever hostility or angst there is coming at you into at least a passable gift for either you or your family?
So how do we do that, Brian? Because I'd like to make some lemonade.
Hugh. You know, well,
sorry.
let's start with a slightly deeper concept, which is in terms of that, realizing that what is said or done at a family event, you are responsible for. You are 100% responsible for what you do at that event. No one else is.
Yeah. So when they're pushing our buttons, and that's what happens at these family get-togethers, because as you said, families, everybody's just so familiar with each other. Everybody's pressing everybody's buttons.
Yes. So you are 100%. So if you want, if you want to storm off, go ahead and storm the hell off. If you want to hurl an insult or hurl a Christmas turkey, go ahead and do it. Just know that you're responsible for that.
And there will be consequences for everything you do, right?
There may not. And chances are there will be. Chances are it's the same old shtick happening the same old time over and over again, and the Christmas turkey always gets thrown between 7:45 and 8 o'clock by someone in the family. You know what? Just realize that you're responsible for your actions at that moment. And as a corollary to that, realize the best gift you can give to some people is dignity, respect, understanding, both for yourself and the other person. To begin to realize that dignity for other people and dignity for yourself are really one and the same thing. It's not a matter of saying, I'm really holding back, I'm the better person, she's insulting me, I'm holding back. It's about working through a dignified response to that. How to do that? I've got no clue, but every situation is different. I would recommend that you don't drink a lot at holiday events, and similarly, for that matter, get a normal amount of sleep, or keep your sleep patterns the same, keep your eating patterns the same. Those stray into the physiological side of things, but if you need to be sharp and if you want to be compassionate and dignified, it's really best to keep your body and mind in a shape, in a way that will allow you to handle that. And you don't want it impaired by alcohol, for example.
I think that keeping that dignified, offering dignity to everyone, yourself and everyone else, is a great thing to keep in mind, and to be mindful about that, and to act, as you say, but don't necessarily react. Really step back from that.
Right.
Step back from it. And one way of getting that dignity and compassion for other people is understanding that there's really a lot attached to holidays, and there's a lot of significance that goes on for it. So what may be silly for you in terms of how people open the gifts or how people eat or what is served, well, it may be silly, or it may be getting under your skin, may be really important for someone else. And yes, it gets into seeing the other side and everything like that. But if you can begin to develop that compassion for other people, you can begin to develop it for yourself as well. So just be aware of what is really going on in the situation. I don't know whether it's practical or tactical advice, but that's what I would do with. That's what I would recommend for people to start with.
All right, sounds like good advice, Brian. So thanks for coming in today. Now, if people are watching this and they're resonating with you, and they want to get in touch and maybe follow up with you, what's the best way for people to do that?
My website is www.torontotherapysite.com, and site is spelled S-I-T-E.
Okay. All right, Brian. Thanks. Always a pleasure.
Likewise.
If we don't see you before the holidays, have a great one.
Thank you. You too. And enjoy.
And hope to see you in the new year.
You will.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So let's take a quick break. Marla, we're going to come back with Michel Emond and talk about global banksters.
Oh, yes, global banking. Hold on a second.
Yes.
Do you have any therapists for Hugh? Good. Okay.
Because there's nothing wrong with
session.
the global financial system, right, Marla?
Nothing.
It's perfectly fine. Okay, we're going to be right back. Liquid Lunch continues on a Thursday.
For a brief moment in time, anticipating, united we dance in fear of the iceberg to hit the Titanic. Barriers of yesteryear, anticipating, religion and race, rich or poor, don't mean much when you dance on the Titanic. Dance away, dance away. I am the hands blowing in the wind. Dance away, dance away. The little mermaid of Copenhagen. Dance away, dance away. Shut your eyes if you really wanna see. Dance away, dance away. Roman ships on the bottom of the sea. Himmel und Schweiß und Winden und unten. Im Tief von der Schiff geht der Tanz, geht der Tanz, geht der Tanz. Gich und gich her, wie her. Klappt die Musik zum Takt und Wörter knäulen sich wie euch. Reif in der Räuf uns flechten sich zu neu gereiht. Gelachen in seinen Sprachen. Dance away, dance away. I am the answer blowing in the wind. Dance away, dance away. The little mermaid of Copenhagen. Dance away, dance away. Shut your eyes if you really wanna see. Dance away, dance away. Roman ships on the bottom of the sea. Roman ships on the bottom of the sea. der Ruhigkeit von nächtige Tag und nächtige Nacht, was kommen, geht mal nicht zurück.
And welcome back to Liquid Lunch, and we're hitting the home stretch here, and we're pleased to have Michel Emond here. And Michel, you're in Toronto. I guess you're in Vancouver. Is your hometown these days?
Yes, it is, for the last 30 years.
For 30 years?
Yes.
And here you are, you're in Toronto, and you're doing some interesting work that has to do with the World Bank, and we've got this crazy financial crisis in the world. Do you want to maybe give us an introduction to the work that you're doing?
Okay. I started a class action suit against the World Bank at the International Criminal Court on behalf of 142 organizations located worldwide. And also at the same time, I came up with a solution to the global debt crisis. And I'm here in Toronto to introduce this tonight at the University of Toronto.
Okay, so you're going to be speaking tonight at the U of T.
Yes.
And what's the topic of tonight's event?
The topic of tonight's event is how I managed to get this far, and I went directly to the International Criminal Court, and I received permission to proceed with my class action suit, and at the same time, it gives me an opportunity to propose a new global debt solution that's never been said before.
Okay, so I'm not sure. So you've got permission from the International Court to go ahead with this class action lawsuit?
Yes, and it's up to me to prove it.
Right. So now you can go ahead in court and prove the law, prove the damage to the parties, the injured parties.
Correct.
Okay. So that's going to be, let's talk about that, but let's also talk about the solution to the global debt problem. Do you want to give us, maybe give us that?
I would definitely start with that.
Okay.
Because it's a very simple solution, and I will be demonstrating this tonight at the University of Toronto. And you're the first show that will get to see this demonstration.
Okay.
And it's very simple. The only way to stop wars and poverty is to put the World Bank out of business, including the bondholders. For example, the Canadian government is about to borrow $600 billion on long-term government bonds in an attempt to boost lending.
So wait, the Canadian government's borrowing that money from who?
I'm not sure. It doesn't say from who, but most likely the bondholders or foreign investors, or it could be...
Or private banks. Or
private banks or
okay.
anything like that. They just did this about a month ago now.
All right.
So this is why there are a lot of... they do this because they say countries are broke and we need money to continue the service that they provide for the citizens.
Right, yeah.
So I found a solution to this. Let's say every country owes $1 trillion. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we come up with $1 trillion.
Yeah.
And there's only 252 countries to begin with. So do you see that brokers covers the banks and the regulators, especially the Standard and the Poor, organization determines the level of standard that a country has.
In terms of the interest rates they have to pay on what they borrow?
Well, if you miss a payment on the interest rate like Greece and Italy and Portugal, and then you're forced to borrow from the World Bank.
Mm-hmm.
In Ontario, they lost 70,000 jobs last month.
You mean the province?
The province, and that's a lot less revenue for the government, and sooner or later that will, So I found a solution to, for all governments not to borrow anymore from anybody. And okay, I'll give you an example.
Okay. Just to be clear, so you're saying the one strategy is no more government borrowing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's for sure. And I'll give you an example over here. I definitely like to see this. I don't know if they will see this on the
We
screen.
probably can't see it, so
okay,
please
I'll read it out to you.
Describe it for us.
Now, let's have a look at this very closely. Imagine this: every town, city, every household, factory, mine, etc., pays hydro every 2 months.
Right.
And the government collects this money. And this is trillions of dollars that they collect every 2 months.
From the hydro bills?
Just hydro bills. It's not in the billions, it's in the trillions. So this is probably about $6 to $8 trillion a year that they collect that nobody seems to talk about, So that money easily can be taken and pay off the debt just overnight. But you can't really do that. So what we have to do is use our imagination, come up with a new, fresh idea. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm going to introduce a new formula at the University of Toronto.
Okay.
You wouldn't happen to have a projector here by any chance?
No.
Okay, that's too bad. Okay, so this is what I propose we're going to do. We're going to have actually, I think you have all the information there.
Yeah, well, here you can flip through this, but but you know the solution, Michel. I want to hear what it is, right?
That's right. And you're going to...
Because I got a bit of a red flag about the hydro thing.
Right.
Because it seems to me there's a cost of producing the hydro. And that the money that they're collecting in the bills has to go and cover the cost of the production.
Okay.
Right? Plus
salaries,
some profit for the
That's
companies
correct.
Doing it.
That's for sure. And salaries and benefits.
So I don't get how that is going to pay the debt.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a worldwide vote on this proposition that I'm going to introduce to you right now.
Okay.
In 2012, we're going to vote on this theory that I am going to introduce to you right now. In 2013, we will have 13 months.
We have 13 months in 2013?
Or 14, we're going to vote on this coming up.
Okay.
The next following year. The first 12 months will have 28 days.
Yeah.
The 13th month will have 30 days, and it still comes up to 365 days. Payroll systems can be readjusted for one year, and the 29th, 30th, 31st of this month will be eliminated to create this 13th month. During the first 12 months of 2013, banks, visa, mortgages, rent will be paid the regular 12 times.
Mm-hmm.
But on the 13th month of 2013, no one will pay a bill of any kind. And on all revenues in this 13th month times 252 countries, this will add up to trillions and trillions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So since there's only 252 countries, let's say every country owes $2 trillion. This is there's enough money here to come up with some $48 trillion in one single month, just on hydro alone.
Mm-hmm.
We take all revenues from all countries and we put it in a certain account that the government cannot touch. Because on the 13th month belongs to all citizens, and everybody got paid their usual 12 times this particular year. And the other thing that you should know is that nobody has a real solution. at the moment. They just print money and they say all kinds of things, but they don't have a
I agree
solid
with that.
solution.
So despite all these global financial problems, the governments and the whatever legislation, bailouts, Greece, all this stuff, I agree. These are not real solutions because the compound interest is just killing everybody.
That's correct. And they can't even make payments on interest on the bonds, never mind the debt.
Yeah.
Just the bonds alone. So the ballot is going to look something like this. And then we have to have a certain rules to this. And we're going to put this to a worldwide referendum.
Do you want to read that proposition for people?
Yes. Okay. Here's the rules to what I'm going to propose today. It can be improved upon. During the first 12 months, banks, financial institutions, business communities, mortgage, visa, etc., would be paid the regular 12 times. But on the 13th month, no one would pay a bill of any kind. And this is where the one-time law comes into effect.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody voted, and they all agreed on this, and then you start collecting the money on the 13th month from the first day until the 28th day of that 13th month. And at the end of that 28th day on the 13th month will add up to tens and 20 of trillions of dollars. And it's a very simple solution. Do you have a question by any chance?
Good point.
This is the magic formula right here.
Okay, so can you describe that formula to us because we can't actually see it, and just, tell us how it works.
On the first day of the 13th month of 2013, we collect all tax revenues from 252 countries. And on the last day of the 13th month of 2013, at this point, we eliminate 10, 20, 40 countries. That's overnight in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really not hard to understand. And now the following year will be these now 10, 20, 30, 40 now debt-free countries will every month will deposit 75% of their revenues since they are now debt-free. And every month of the following year, another 10, 20 countries will be debt-free.
Mm-hmm.
They will provide enough revenues
Mm-hmm.
without interrupting the banking system or the government's borrowing any money at all from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get to the 6th or the 7th month, there's only 252 countries. Once you get to the 6th or the 7th month, according to my calculations, all country will be debt-free. And it all starts with the 13th month after the vote has passed.
Okay. All right. What are we going to call that month?
13th month. That's what it says right here.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, Michel, I'm interested in how you got interested in solving the world's debt problems. What's your story? How did you get here?
I'm glad you asked. It has to do with 142 organizations that claims that the World Bank started the Forest Carbon Fund project, and they were supposed to receive this money, but they never got it.
The organizations were
142 organizations, yes.
Right. So the World Bank was these organizations were going to deal with the carbon.
Yes, exactly, and they were supposed to receive a certain amount of money for climate jobs and sustain their land and whatever they do with that money.
Okay.
But they never got this money because it conflicts with other funds that the World Bank operates.
So the World Bank was supposed to give these organizations that money to do their environmental work?
Exactly.
Okay.
So they argued that, and the first thing I had to do, so I let the 142 organizations know that I was going to subpoena the World Bank today, December 1st, 2011.
So is today the day?
Yes, and I notified all directors of the World Bank about 3 weeks ago that they are going to enter a court procedure at the International Criminal Court. So they are now notified. That is the first rule that you have to do, is notify your opponent, that
Right.
they are now being sued,
Okay.
and for what reason. So I emailed Russian television because they're independent and they will be watching the show and they will be broadcasting Russian television, RT News.
Okay. Let me ask you, what was the reaction from these 142 NGOs?
Well, this is the thing. I have to go public and do my statement as of today,
Okay.
tonight at the University of Toronto. And my first thing that I had to do was to notify them.
Mm-hmm.
And now I notified the 18 judges at the International Criminal Court, and I will now be entering pre-trial, is what they call it. It's called pre-trial. And here's the 18 judges here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now, as of February 23rd, I will be entering pre-trial.
Okay.
So,
Now, where do you do that? Do you have to go to The Hague or something to?
no, you can do it. All you have to do is send in your information to the prosecutor. And then
Okay.
from there, you get a letter like this. And it says, the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has confirmed that this decision to proceed will be considered if new facts or evidence provide a reasonable basis to believe that a crime within the jurisdiction of the court has been committed. It says so in this letter.
Okay.
So, the common plan or conspiracy charter, Article 6.8. This is what this is count one of my claim against the World Bank.
So you're saying that the World Bank has broken the law?
Exactly.
What did they do?
Well,
How did they break what law did they break?
Well, according to the 142 organizations and Naomi Klein, a very famous author in Toronto, I believe she's from, and many other authors has written the same reports. Now, the World Bank launches Forest Carbon Fund. The bank pitched in $300 million. There is a catch. The credits will belong to the banks, not to the 160 million original people who lived there, who were custodians. And now they are being thrown in jail, murdered and tortured, and gone missing.
Who is?
Well, the Forest Carbon Fund Project, there are Naomi Klein on her book Shock Doctrine, and many other authors have been trying to tell the public for years now that there are, in the South Asia Pacific, the Forest Carbon Fund Project that the World Bank started leads to poverty, wars, and tiny communities worldwide in the stealing of land.
Okay.
And this has been going on for years, and I decided to take this to the International Criminal Court. Then I received an information from a letter from them, and they're telling me to prove this.
Right.
So this is where I am tonight, and tonight I'll have to make a statement. And I have his spy page on my website, and I have my own Ustream television.
Right.
And I'm getting a lot of hits at the moment this last week because today is the day I go public. And today is the day that I say the same thing. There's 142 organizations who wants me to prevail.
Mm-hmm.
And there's about 40 different countries at the moment, according to my spy page, who are watching this event tonight, and they can't wait to hear me talk.
Okay, so what time tonight is this Ustream? People will be able to see this live on Ustream. On where do they go to see this live?
They go to 30tcs.com.
30tcs.com.
And
Okay.
it starts at 7:15 tonight. And starting tomorrow, it will remain on until February 23rd when I come back on Ustream. I return on Ustream. So whatever is being said tonight
Yeah.
will remain there for the next 3 months.
So it'll keep in rotation?
Yes, it will
Till
stay
February.
23rd.
What are you going to do on February 23rd?
February 23rd, when I return on February 23rd. Now, what I'd like to talk to you about this on your show a week before, if you want.
This is returning to Toronto?
I
Or
will be staying to Toronto till probably April 1st because I have a lot of contacts now. I have a lot of people who are very interested and a lot of people who are coming tonight, and I think a lot of people are willing to back me up.
So what's happening though on February 23rd?
On February 23rd, when I return on Ustream, I will send my documents in my new facts and evidence to the International Criminal Court, and I am looking for a place to speak for February 23rd, 2012. And as of today, I subpoena the World Bank, directors, past directors, presidents, and Robert Zoellick as of December 1st, 2012, which is today, tonight, at 7:15. I have to do this. That's what, according to the law, that's what I have to do.
All right. Why are you so interested in pursuing this? It sounds like a really big undertaking.
Well, this is the funny thing. About 10 years ago, I started since 1982, where they started to be a crash worldwide in 1982. Then I started thinking,
Yeah.
why is this happening, this and that? Then I started hearing things about the World Bank and this and that, and everything was okay. But all of a sudden, 1982 came along, and everything wasn't okay.
Yeah.
It was
Things
slow.
have been getting worse slowly.
The last
you
20
might
years.
have good times and bad, but overall the trend is down since probably the early 70s.
And definitely it all started in 1982, and this is 20 years, 19 years later now, and the last 3-4 years it's been a disaster. I hear stories about people are now breaking into grocery stores middle of the night. If you get hungry, that's where you go. That's where I would go.
Well, we know food bank use is, we didn't used to have food banks. We didn't used to have people living on the streets, right?
And also, the other thing is you have to beat these people at their own rules and at their own games and win. You must know their rules and how to win and play their game. And I know how to do that. So that's how I got a letter from the International Criminal Court telling me that I have permission to proceed with my statement of claim, is what it's called.
Okay, so tonight, people can come and see you live as well. Where is it going to be?
It is at room 100,
Yeah.
563 Spadina Crescent, and it starts at 7 p.m. And they can catch me live on my Ustream channel at 30tcs.com. I'll be live on my homepage.
Okay,
they don't
so
have to go down.
Right. So tonight, if you're in Toronto, you can go down there. 563 Spadina Crescent. What is that? The part that's north of Bloor?
All I know is there's like an island there or something.
Oh, it's where there's it's near the it is U of T.
Yes.
It's where the streetcars go around that island in the middle
Yes.
of. Is it in that island? Or
It's just across the street
yeah,
from
you're
there,
on
I
the east
believe.
side. I think
believe
that
that's
would be
what
the
it
east
is.
side of Spadina there. So room 100. Okay, 7 o'clock tonight, and so you're going to read a statement, and what is the essence of that statement that
Well,
you're going to be reading?
This is my speech. I
Okay.
have to be very careful of what I say because the World Bank lawyers will be watching
Okay.
tonight because they've been notified, and I notified all the 52 directors, and they all have lawyers, and I have to be very careful to what I say on your show and what I say at 7:15. And I'm going to say exactly what's in this page to protect myself, and then that way I can proceed and finish the job February 23rd, 2012.
Okay.
And at the same time, we have to put the World Bank out of business, and I'm going to introduce a new idea that needs to be done, and I'm going to let everybody decide if it's worth talking about the next day. I'm going to let them decide.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Anything else you want to leave us with today,
Well,
Michel?
one thing for sure is no matter what happens, I know for a fact I came to Toronto, the biggest city in Canada, to be close to New York. There's a corporate lawyer, reporter that I know who works there, and there's an organization in Montreal that's not far from Toronto, and I need to be close to these two organizations because we're going to need their help.
What's the organization in Montreal?
Global Research is one of them.
Yeah.
And the other one is as a reporter for the New York Times, Jeffrey D. Sachs.
Okay.
So these two know that I will need their help, but they really don't know how to help me at the moment.
Okay. Well, listen, I have to say good luck
Okay.
tonight. And as you said, people can check it out live either in person at 563 Spadina Crescent, room 100, or they can check it out at your website, 30tcs.com, right,
That's
Michel?
correct.
And hopefully you can come back in February and let us know what the next step is on this.
Definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm working on that as of tomorrow.
All right. Okay, Michel.
Well,
Thanks
thank
for
you very
doing
much
this
for
today.
having me on your show.
Thank you. Yes. Well, I guess that's it for the show. Marla had to leave early, so it's just me and Theo. Jay Stoyan's in the house as well. And we're just going to say thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll be back tomorrow at noon for more Liquid Lunch right here on thatchannel.com. See you then.
Sitzt am Fegele, oi van Bemele, a Herbstwinkel bloßt in Feld. Weiter weg ist mein Haus und Schleumele, suchen Arbeit in der Welt. Singt das Fegele, a Klockliedele, starbt im Feld a Blum, gehand von Schleumelen a treuig Brebele, Neut und Elend a Turm. Mit Gesang schickt das Fegele herab zu mir. Es klippen die Malachim, Mistame haben sie es sieben, sie haben sehr Drohim, Efscher Amaleks a verbotene Angels weeping high above, a flood of tears will fall. Could it be forbidden love? Only God knows if angels can sin at all. Ein ganzer Mabel von Tränen, von dem höchsten Malach im Rot. Ein kleiner Malach jagt sich nach einer Stelle.